All right, everybody. Well, congratulations on course number 2500.
Thank you,
And
Scott. That means a
now,
lot.
now for the director's cut bonus content. I just thought I would be remiss if I didn't talk to someone who's played 2500 courses about what you like in course design, because my perspective looking at pro tour courses is completely different than the majority of players. And we're doing it in front of the Inn of a Champion tent because it just shows how much promotional value they would get out of making you a 2500 course commemorative sidewinder. Just saying.
That would be really cool.
So, so what makes a good course?
Well, there's a lot of intangibles, but I think you got to have those signature holes. So when you're playing or designing, you look for those signature holes, and they could be, um, well placed baskets or well placed tee areas, and then the lay of the land. So it's there's a lot of variables, and it takes a long time to really develop a hole. And people just think that all that, and some courses are just made up in 10 minutes. But to have a really great course or a good design, it takes a lot of time. Um, just tinkering and like that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk some specifics. I'll just give you more specific questions. Do you like artificial out of bounds, where you just take a rope on the ground and you say that's a lake? Use your imagination. Do you like that or do you not?
Um, I don't care for it, but I'll play the course if that's the way it's set up. But I can see its benefits, like Winthrop Gold. I can see,
Mm-hmm.
the benefits to that because the property is pretty basic, and by doing that, it makes the course epic. So
Mm-hmm.
I can see the pluses and minuses, but I've never designed a course using artificial out of bounces. I tried try to use the land that God created.
So, yeah, I mean, there's no right or wrong answers. These are all just subjective. But you've played 2,500 courses. Like, what is the like when you walk away from your course and you go, "Wow, that really that caught me off guard. That was really fun. I had no idea that would be so cool." What is most likely the the cause of that? Like, what is the thing that most likely makes you think, "Neat. I won't soon forget this course."
Oh, again, there's many variables, but usually very rarely do you find a course that every hole is epic. There are uh, a few out there. Toboggan, Lake Arvesta is pretty cool. Um,
Alle Disc Golf Center in Sweden comes to mind.
right.
Maple
Um,
Hill.
Maple Hill.
Maple Hill doesn't have a bad hole on it.
Right. And but it's hard to I would say to take away um, uh, you know uh, to have some really good holes that will leave a lasting imprint on you with a picturesque hole or a very challenging hole or just a hole that you just had so much fun playing. Like, the last hole I played here, as you guys saw me, I stumbled in the bramble, I stumbled in the trees. I'm going to remember that because it was so funny, So,
Mm.
but that wasn't you know, but yeah, every I would say uh, the the feeling that you get from playing epic holes, epic courses, Eagles Crossing, um, epic. Uh,
What about when I play a pro tour course? One of the criteria I've come to believe, it's kind of a recent epiphany over the last year or two. I guess if it happens over 2 years, it's not an epiphany, but it's something that I've come to believe is that as a touring pro, I should feel anxiety on every hole. Like every hole should stress me out because if it doesn't stress me out, there's no reward for succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, for like a recreational course, the holes won't be anywhere near as difficult. They wouldn't stress out a touring pro.
Right.
But do you think that a hole in a recreational course should cause anxiety for a recreational player, or is that asking too much of somebody who's a casual player?
Well, Steady Ed said that the first hole should be fun, so you'll want to continue to the second hole. And for a rec player, I think for every hole greater than 200 feet, there should be a hole that's 200 feet or less for that rec player. I'm talking about
Sure.
lower than AM4. Just a one disc player that just started today. Or a little kid. I don't want him to lose his only disc on a hole that is just so hard for them. So I want them to
Mm.
keep on playing. So I would say that to for the rec player just to make it enjoyable for them, eh,
I used to always say,
to where they don't have anxiety.
okay, I
Yeah,
mean, that's fair.
yeah,
I used to always say that recreational courses should never have holes where players can lose discs until I started manufacturing discs.
right,
And now I think those holes are awesome.
right, yeah,
So for some reason my paradigm has shifted. Um, no, I tend to agree, except when you have a city full of courses, and nowadays cities have courses, a
yeah,
lot of them.
yeah,
I I think what's most important is you have a variety of courses in town. And I think it's okay to have challenging courses and horrible courses and courses where a bad throw you get cut up with thorns. As long as ain't the only course you have to play,
right.
you choose to play that challenge that day.
Hmm.
But if you don't feel like it, would you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
So hard courses are fine as long as it's kind of like pay to play courses. I'm totally
Right,
cool with pay to play
I am
courses,
too.
but I would hate it if pay to play courses were the only courses in town. I like the balance of mostly free,
I
and
do too. I
then
agree.
a couple special courses.
Yep.
What about distance? So this is one of those debates about holes that are long because one side of the philosophy is, well, every hole should be reachable because that way it's fair, and then some people it's a test of skill. And my argument has always been, what throwing far is a skill, and if you can't throw far and you lack the skill, learn the skill.
Hmm.
That's not the course designer's fault that you can't reach the hole and your buddy can.
Right.
Throw farther
I agree.
or learn.
Yeah.
So you're fine with holes being longer.
It all depends. I'm fine for the most part. I'll play any course, but uh, I played a course yesterday in Hamlin, New York, that it was just not geared for their community. The last two holes were hole 8 was 580 feet, and then hole 9 was 680 feet. And hole 1 played in between a tennis court and the bleachers of a baseball diamond, to where the people were, watching a ball game, and there's the basket, and somebody could throw and hit them in the back.
Well, that's a whole different.
So
that's a whole different thing.
right, but I'm saying that course was about 4,000 feet long for 9 holes, which for that community, I say it was too much. But for other communities where that was the only course in that area. Brockport had 3 or 4 courses, so yeah.
I don't think any 9-hole course should be long, because if it's a 9-hole course, it's not a championship challenge. You go out for 3-hour course. If it's a 9-hole course, its intention is recreation.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I want to be clear about something. I am not a hypocrite. Like, Like I throw far, but I don't throw far on the Pro Tour. I think the same thing applies. There was a course at Toboggan, that one long uphill hole. Like I really can't get to it in two throws, and I don't have a problem with that because there should be holes Anthony Barella can birdie that I can't.
Right.
Because if I got a problem with it, I should learn to throw as far as Anthony Barella. And if I can't because I'm older, that's not the course's fault that I aged. So I'm not a hypocrite when I say this. Against my peers, I'm pretty middle of the pack on my back end.
Oh, on those longer courses, it's about strategy. It's about shot placement.
Yeah, but there
So,
should be advantages. AB should have an advantage on holes
mhm.
because he has a skill that I don't. He should have an inherent advantage on certain holes.
But what's really neat, Scott, is um, I can say this from maybe my local area at times, is that some of these young kids can throw a country mile, but I'm beating them because I know how to putt.
Mm-hmm.
Or I know I have a good short game, and they just haven't developed that yet. So there's a lot of intangibles with
Mm-hmm.
those long holes. Drive for show, putt for dough is the most common thing that comes to my mind. And if you don't have a short game, then your long game means little.
Yeah, no, it's just one of the skills.
Hmm.
All right, I guess final question: are you okay with courses that have thorns off the fairway or things that are going to penalize you with pain? Be honest. I mean, like,
I'm fine with them.
okay.
You shouldn't throw it in there. Just like, and I remember Roscoe Ewing Park when it was 9 holes. Boy, after you got done playing with it, you were bleeding because you would get off the fairways and you were bleeding. But Leroy and Sharon and many others uh, cut back the fairways over and over through time to where it's a it's so fun to play Roscoe Ewing.
Roscoe Ewing's a great course.
Yeah.
Well, now my favorite example of this was in and it's unfortunately not there anymore. But Dave McCormick's Ozark Mountain Course. Did you ever play those?
I did not.
Oh my God, he had three courses on his uncle's property.
Right. Yeah.
And if you throw off the fairway, no matter how careful you were getting cut up. And I'm not exaggerating. You could look at people coming off the course and like you knew how they shot based on the amount of dry blood on their legs. Like every single player had dry blood on their arms and legs.
Yeah.
It was just a question of
Oh
how
yeah.
much. And I just thought that was, for me, I'm sorry, I thought it was so much fun. Like it wasn't fun when I threw in there, but it was
Hmm.
kind of funny when someone else did because it's like I was I shouldn't feel that way. By the way, I'm not thinking it's funny that someone threw a bad. I don't root for people to throw bad
No,
throws.
not at all.
It was just kind of like someone throws a shot and their head just goes down.
And if you look
Because
at
you know it's going to be you next
if
hole.
you look at me right now, Scott, I have my pants tucked into my socks,
All right.
right? And that's because I am very allergic to poison ivy.
Okay.
And there's poison ivy everywhere out here. And I remember playing, so I wash off when I'm done, but I remember sharing the fairways with Ben Calhoun one time,
Yeah.
the second person to 1,000 courses. And every time his disc went into poison ivy, he got out a new disc. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, and here I played a course in New York. I'd have to look at my list, but it sounded like Scarfelli Park or something like that. But they had signs in the woods that pointed to poison ivy,
Really?
and I'm like, I've never seen that before. I'm glad. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, poison ivy's everywhere. Poison oak, whatever. But yeah.
And by the way, Ben wasn't the second person to 1,000 courses. He was tied for first with Greg.
Who finished out first?
They tied.
They both shot at the same time?
Yeah, yeah. To the best of my, I mean, well, Ben waited several days for Greg to show up.
Right, but who finished hole 18 first?
I think they finished together
Okay.
in order to make sure neither one of them was the first.
Ah, I never knew that. So
I know. I know. Well, look, I don't even, as you say this, I don't have any information that. But I can't imagine if Ben waited several days for Greg, the spirit of it would not have been let's end together. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to say that they ended together, and if I got the story wrong, I like my story better.
Right. I like your stories too, Scott.
Okay, well,
And
we're gonna go with
and
that
this
one.
is your program, and we go by your rules. But I like your stories anyhow.
Yeah, I like.
And I listen to all your podcasts, and you're a superhuman being. And thank you for everything you've done for disc golf and the Blue Power and and everybody. And you're a good example for people to learn from. And I'm just so happy that you're the newest member of the PDJ Hall of Fame this year, along with my friend Terry Calhoun and the others. I'm sorry I don't remember your names. You can tell them right now.
Yep.
Tell them.
No, I'm gonna be doing a separate interview with
Okay.
all. I'll be doing an interview with all 5 of the members, so we're gonna save that.
Okay, good call. But
So, all right.
yeah,
Well,
it was.
it was a great day. Thank you.
Thank you,
Love you,
Scott.
Dan.
I love you too,
And
brother.
we will see you all at the movies.
Nice.
Remember Siskel and Ebert?
Yeah.
I just dated us. And,
Again.
And 98% of my audience, because my audience is all over the age of 45. So they all get it too. All right, see you, everybody.
Bye.